Hello everybody, today we're doing another geography type video, and I am here looking at a website called thetruesize.com, and I'll leave a link for that in the description. But basically, today we're looking at this website. You may have seen this in the past, but basically what happens with the Mercator projection, which is the map that we use. This is the Mercator projection map or whatever. But basically, if you take, say, let's get a country that's like far north, which is Norway. Right, and I can actually click on Norway here, and then I can move Norway around. It brings Svalbard with it. But if I move Norway closer to the equator, you'll see it shrinks. And like if I put Norway here over like Africa on the coast, it's pretty small. When if you look up there, it looks a lot bigger. And that's because the farther away things get from this equator in either direction, the more it actually stretches. Like obviously if we put Greenland up here, it's huge. And then if we move it close to where it was, it's about the same size. But the more we move it towards the equator, the smaller it gets. So that's why a country like, say, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, that's Iran, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, okay, I have to actually type it out, the Democratic Republic, there we go. Oh my god, that's Dominican Republic, just a sec. Here we go, problem solved. If we get the DRC, you'll see it's right near the equator. But if we move it up to, say, like, you know, Norway again, takes like the entire Scandinavian area, and like all of Iceland, like a lot of Russia. Like, I mean, it's freaking huge. I mean, it's freaking huge country. I think it's like number 8th or something, biggest countries. So it's pretty huge. But if we look at something like Greenland, you'll see that it looks very, very big. But if we take something like Chad, which looks pretty small because it's by the equator, what you'll actually be surprised to know is that Chad's actually the 20th largest country. And if we move over Chad to, like, say the US, look how huge it is. It's huge. You see this? This is freaking huge. And then if we move Chad to, say, Greenland, you'll see that, holy cow, Chad actually made a pretty big dent on Greenland. Like, look how huge that is. You know, and so now if we take, like, Greenland itself, right? And I love just messing around on this website. But if we take, like, Greenland, and we move it over to, say, Africa, look how small that is. Look how tiny. And we think of Greenland as being this just absolutely gigantic, you know, part of Denmark. But not. It's not. And, like, even if we, now, it is pretty big. Because, like, if we move it over the east coast of the U.S., you'll see that it, you know, goes pretty much north to south. We put it over, like, Texas. It's pretty much the height of the U.S. So, I mean, it's pretty big, but it's definitely not as big as it seems sitting up here in the north. But yeah, another funny one that I like to see, and of course it's still not huge, but if we take something like Equatorial Guinea, it's not the most well-known country, but hence the name, it is very close to the equator, not on the equator though. But if we move that, like even that, it's much bigger than the Strait of like Rhode Island, as you can see. You know, it takes almost those 3 states. I mean, it's pretty big. And like we can even take like Seoul to states. Like if we take the state of Texas, we can move that over Europe, and you'll see that it's pretty freaking huge. Pretty big. But if we take that same Texas, move it over like the DRC, not so big. Another one that I think is a really good example is Brazil. So Brazil, sitting down there, looks like a pretty decent sized country, right? But you may be surprised to know that it's actually, I think, like the 5th or 6th largest country. It's pretty dang freaking huge. In fact, if we move Brazil up to Russia, holy cow. Holy cow. And like if we take Brazil, move it over to like, say, Greenland, holy cow. You know? So we clear the same map. Let's take a country like Argentina, which is also one of the bigger countries. Looking pretty big down there. Obviously, equator, not as big. But once we move it up to, say, Greenland, once again, holy cow. You know, it's pretty big. Hi, I'm Marissa. I look like a face. I look like a face. Who do you think you're talking to? I look more like a face. Hey, guys, can I join the club? No, you get out of here, you tiny. Anyway, another pretty cool example is actually Indonesia. So we take a country like Indonesia, pretty close to the equator. If we take it over the U.S., pretty decent size. In fact, it takes the entire coast to coast. You know? And, like, even on Canada, like, freaking huge, man. Freaking the island of Borneo, compared to Greenland, is pretty, you know, big. And that's just the island of Borneo. I mean, obviously there's Java and everything. So, and it's funny, because I love, like, especially with Indonesia, like, how it curves like that. The islands get, like, farther. But, like, if you bring it into the equator, you'll see its normal shape. And then it goes the opposite way. Ooh! Whee! I just think it's kind of neat. But yeah, I've played around quite a bit with this. Another fun kind of thing is to take something like Madagascar, which doesn't, you know, seem that big. And if we take it and put it there, it's actually pretty big. Move it up to Greenland. Yeah, actually pretty big. But yeah, I don't know. I just think it's really neat. Another huge country, which you probably already know is a huge country, but it really sets in once you put it over the U.S. Australia, pretty freaking huge. The U.S. is still bigger, but not by a whole lot. But there's it over Africa. Another cool example is like Russia, right? If we take Russia and we move it down to Africa, it only really takes up the northernmost part. So, I don't know. I just think it's a really neat website. I think, like, if we take, like, say, Italy. There you go. Just fun to move these countries around. And, yeah, like I said, it's called thetruesize.com. And I will try to leave a link there in the description. But, yeah, you can definitely, you know, go play around with this yourself. It is a really fun website to just mess around on. But, yeah, I don't really know what else to do right now. But definitely let me know if you want to see a part 2. But yeah, I think it's a really fun website to mess around with yourself. Definitely give me more suggestions that you want me to look at if I do make a part 2. But yeah, on that note, thank you so much for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Hey guys, can I join your club here? No, you dum-dum. Everyone like and subscribe. And hit the notification bell too. Goodbye. No, I want to say goodbye.